Hi. Today let's talk about why your weight loss triggers may be keeping you stuck. Have you ever had one of those days where nothing particularly terrible happened, and yet somehow by the time you got into bed that night, you felt defeated, discouraged, exhausted, and completely hopeless about your weight? I think most women have. In fact, many women have experienced days like that so often that they hardly notice what's actually happening anymore. Why they're suddenly sad, for example, why they're suddenly tired or overwhelmed without particular outer reason. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you wake up in the morning and before your feet even touch the floor, your very first thought is, I wonder if I've gained weight. Nothing has happened yet. The day has not even begun. Just one single thought. And yet your mind is already focused on your weight and you feel miserable. Then you step on the scale. Maybe the number is exactly the same as yesterday, or maybe it's half a pound higher or lower. Yet the result is frustration, either because it's more the same or just a little bit less. And what's fascinating is that regardless of the number, it now follows you through the rest of the day like an unwanted companion. Although it's nothing but just a number. You brush your teeth and you see the edemas in your hand, and you instantly feel more miserable. And somewhere in the background of your mind, that number on your scale is still there. Then you walk into your bedroom and reach for a pair of jeans that fit comfortably a few weeks ago, and today they feel a little tighter. Immediately, your mood drops even more. Not because anything catastrophic has happened, not because you've suddenly gained 20 pounds overnight, but because that moment triggered something inside you. Perhaps it triggered fear, frustration, disappointment, or the familiar thought, here we go again. And now the day continues. You open the refrigerator. The healthy breakfast you plan to eat isn't there. Maybe somebody else finished it. Maybe you forgot to buy it. Maybe life simply got in the way. And suddenly you're irritated. Not because of the food itself, but because the situation triggered another feeling. It was just one thought that triggered a feeling of being off track, a feeling of losing control of some that somehow you've already failed before the day has even properly started. Then you go to work, you pass a shop window, and for a split second you catch your reflection. And there it is again. Another trigger, another thought, another judgment, another tiny emotional wound, and your mood plummets even deeper. Later in the day, perhaps a colleague says something completely innocent, or perhaps not so innocent. Maybe she asks, did you gain weight? And suddenly it feels as though all the air has left the room. Because until that moment, perhaps you were still holding on to a little hope. Perhaps you were telling yourself that things weren't so bad and that you're now on a good path. Perhaps you were trying to stay positive, and now one careless comment has shattered that fragile hope into 1,000 pieces. The day just can't get any worse. The rest of the afternoon feels heavier. Your mood changes, your energy changes, your thoughts change, and you may not even realize how profoundly that one moment affected you. Actually, it was a series of tiny mini moments. Then you go home, you feel guilty because you didn't make it to the gym that day. You compare yourself to somebody slimmer. You remember the diet you promised to start on Monday. You wonder whether you'll ever figure this out. And by the time your head touches the pillow that evening, you feel emotionally exhausted and like the biggest failure. Now, here's my question. What exactly happened today? Did you eat something terrible? Maybe not. Did you completely abandon your goals? Probably not. Did something catastrophic happen? Not really, other than the remark from your colleague. So why do you feel so awful? The answer is that you were triggered dozens, maybe even hundreds of times throughout the entire day, over and over and over again. One tiny trigger after the other. And you simply reacted to these tiny triggers every time. You see, when most people hear the word trigger, they immediately think about food. They think about cake, chocolate, cookies, pizza. The food that supposedly triggered overeating, that's the only triggers the diet industry talks about. But what if food isn't the biggest trigger in your life? What if the biggest triggers are the thoughts, situations, comments, memories, comparisons, and experience that happen all day long? And ladies, it always begins with the scale. Always. If the scale is the first thing in the morning you do, that's when it starts. But most of all, what if the worst trigger is your own judgment of things and circumstances, the number on the scale, the missing breakfast, the jeans? Because when you really begin to pay attention, you may discover that your relationship with your weight is being triggered dozens of times every single day, inflating the drama further and further. The scale triggers you, your clothes trigger you, your reflection triggers you, social media trigger you, other women trigger you, advertisement trigger you, certain family members trigger you, comments trigger you, memories, and every single trigger creates an emotional response. And with every emotional response, your weight problem becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like adding one piece, one stone after the other on the problem, so that it grows and grows and grows and grows. And the larger it grows, the harder it gets to lose it. It's because all those emotional responses combined create perfect crisis or drama, or both. Now imagine that happening not once or twice. Imagine it happening 20, 30, 40 times throughout the day, throughout the month, the entire year. Can you now see how exhausting that becomes? Can you see how much stress that creates? Can you see how much energy your system is spending simply reacting to triggers? Because here is something very important that many women never realize. Your body doesn't distinguish particularly well between a physical threat and an emotional threat. Because every emotion instantly makes the body react to it. When you're triggered, your stress response activates. Your nervous system reacts. Stress hormones are released. Your system shifts into protection mode. And if that process repeats itself all day long, day after day, week after week, month after month, and year after year, your body eventually begins living in a state of chronic stress, a stress you don't even realize. And let's not be naive. The next day, the very same patterns repeat themselves, maybe in a slightly different way. Yet somehow every day it feels a little bit like Groundhog Day. The very worst about that situation is that it makes you more overweight and later even chronically sick over time from something that should not have any meaning in your life. Triggers. They don't have a real meaning. It's the meaning you give them. Now, think about what most weight loss programs tell you to do. They tell you to become more focused on your weight, more focused on the scale, more focused on calories, on food, on monitoring yourself. In other words, they unknowingly increase the number of triggers. They do exactly the opposite, something that makes matters much, much worse. Can you see the irony? A woman already feels overwhelmed by her weight. And then she's taught to think about it even more, to monitor even more, to judge it even more, to obsess about it even more. And somehow we're surprised when she becomes exhausted and more overweight. This is one of the reasons why I believe that many women are not failing because they lack discipline. Well, I know this for a fact. They are struggling because they are carrying an tremendous emotional load that most people never see and slim people can never understand. And most slim people would break under that load. Their nervous system is constantly reacting. Their mind is constantly evaluating. Their emotions are constantly being activated. And that makes lasting change incredibly difficult, if not impossible. Because it's very hard to create inner peace when you're being triggered all day long. Now imagine a different possibility. Imagine becoming aware of these triggers. Imagine recognizing them when they happen. Imagine noticing the thoughts without immediately believing them and without immediately reacting to them. Imagine realizing that the number on a scale does not have the power to determine whether today will be a good day or a bad day. It's just a number. Or even better, don't weigh at all. I never weigh. I don't even have a scale. Imagine seeing your reflection without turning it into evidence that you are failing. Instead, look at how beautiful you really are. It never fails to stun me how beautiful women are once they lost their weight. It's like they would hide their tremendous beauty among a load of fat. Look at that. Look at your own beauty. Imagine hearing a comment from another person and understanding that it does not define your worth, but her character. Can you see how different that day would feel and how different your day will be? The circumstances might be exactly the same, but your experience would be completely different. And that is where freedom begins. Not by controlling every trigger, that would be impossible, but by becoming aware of them. Because awareness gives you choice, and choice creates freedom. So today I want to leave you with a simple challenge. Pay attention. For just one day, notice how many times your weight enters your thoughts. Notice what triggers those thoughts. Notice what emotions follow, because it's at the end, it's the emotions which have the strongest effect on the body. Notice how often your mood changes because of something that happened outside of you. You may be shocked by what you discover. And if you are, good, great, you did a great job. So don't judge yourself. Simply become curious. Because sometimes the greatest obstacle to weight loss isn't the food. That's an understatement. Most of the time, it isn't food. Sometimes it's the hundreds of tiny triggers that are quietly shaping your thoughts, emotions, stress levels, reactions, and behavior every single day, and over time become strong habits. If this conversation resonated with you, I would love to invite you to join our free Women Beyond Weight community, where women are learning how to step out of the cycle of pressure, judgment, constant triggering, and begin creating a more peaceful relationship with themselves and their bodies. You belong here. The link is below, and I hope to see you there. Thank you very much for watching this video. My name is Angela Buri. Take care and happy slimming. Bye for now.